Hello out there and good morning, traders. It is March 7th, 2024, and welcome to the Apteros Daily Market Insight. Let's dive into our recap, and then we'll update our session plan and levels for today. So taking a look at the recap, we had basically a bullish scenario coming out of this area here, these lines in the sand, where we were bullish up above with scenario 1, bearish down below in scenario 2. And in the actual DMI write-up, I had mentioned that along with scenario 1, basically taking trade inflections from the neutral levels is possible. So we were really looking at possible pullbacks into these neutral levels, looking to the upside for scenario 1 to hold. And this was the overall destination up here, this target area up above around the 5140s. And that was the general layout for our overall DMI yesterday. So as we started to come into the open here, we started to see a move coming from here all the way out into this neutral area here, and the open kind of being right in this zone here. We weren't really accepted above this neutral area in terms of rhythm and how we read acceptance and so forth. So really this zone wasn't a trade idea to the long side, but this one definitely was accepted above. So as we pulled back into here, this became the main trade opportunity with scenario 1, especially after seeing a good inflection, a good hold of that neutral reference. And that was the main trade idea for the session along with scenario 1. You could see that we got a really nice move out of it coming out of there. Just didn't quite get to that target area before seeing a high put in, and then, of course, it tested that high that rolls over and capitulates into, I think that's whenever the Fed started to talk a little bit more about what was going on. So fundamentally, we started to see the market reacting to some news, but we still had opportunities from our neutral references. We had scalping level opportunities off of all of our neutral areas down here, with just clear destinations into here, clear destination into here. This one pushing up and not really being able to push it back into these prior highs. So kind of an obvious sign there that the continuation wasn't all available for the bulls. So overall, from our neutral levels, being bullish was along with scenario 1, and that was the general play that we were looking for out of the session for today. So pretty decent session coming off of especially this 5100 area, this 5100 neutral level. A lot of good opportunities from there heading into the upside. Okay, so now as we look at our overall landscape here, you'll notice one particular reference looks a little different today. It is this one here. And the reason why it is not a bearish line in the sand is because it's not a true bearish level for us in terms of context. However, it is a very relevant factor to the market and what we're sitting at right now. So let's talk about that in the overall DMI analysis. This was really the trade we were looking for yesterday. It has now come up and completed into this 5136 destination. This 5136 destination, though, in terms of context, is extremely important to us for the overall look in the context. In other words, if we do get up above this, there's much more confluence in bullish opportunity available to us, because this would be shifting conditions on a lower time frame, and we would start to see the changing towards more bullish information overall across all the timeframes that we analyze for our narrative. So that would be really the main scenario for us if we were to be following along with the bulls without any real pullbacks. Now, the reason why this area up here is so critical to us is because if it holds, the idea is that we might see the market stay in this area and be rotational. And that's the general expectation that we have right now in this zone. So our line in the sand down here is really the locations that we're looking at for the bulls, which scenario 1 being bullish up above, scenario 2 being a breakdown underneath it. But now that we've completed the trade idea from yesterday into its target zone, we're now monitoring for deeper pullbacks if this area holds, or a shift in condition and more bullishness if that area breaks. So if we are pulling back and we continue to pull back from this area, are we looking to get long off of our neutral references? No, not really, because this holding, this bearish area holding here, gives us a general contextual expectation that things are going to be very choppy in this area. Now, we might end up seeing some clean price action. The market's random. We never know what's going to happen. And you might get opportunities to kind of play in between neutral areas or something like that. But if we never get above this area here, the bears will kind of be holding control of a rotational area for us all the way down into this line in the sand zone here. Once we get down here, though, the market gets more bullish as we continue a little bit lower, and our real highest time frame trade idea for bullishness is down here. So kind of everywhere up in this zone here is an opportunity for bullishness to kind of take over this market. In other words, to buy good prices for lower rotations. So that's the overarching landscape. Now let's talk about just scenarios and what actions to take along with the analysis, right? For anyone using this as analysis. So here's our line in the sand. We are bullish up above there, but we want to see this trade continuation type of situation to get up into this main target zone. From there, if that does manifest itself, if the upside does continue, we do have another stretch target up above into the 51, let's call it 82s, somewhere up in there, right? So that's the overall upside. If this neutral area with the red lines on it doesn't really clear out, then we're kind of in a roadblock or a dissonant area where things can get a little choppy. You could take scalp level opportunities off of neutral references, but that would be it. It would be very, very low level, and I would stick with the analysis from scenario one. In other words, being a little bit more bullish across the board. The downside, not much opportunity there unless we get below our main line in the sand, in which case that is a bearish opportunity from the analysis perspective. We would be shifting to the downside, and it would be lower level, wouldn't be as good as the bullish opportunities, but it would be a little bit more information for us to the downside. And that's really the general landscape what we're looking at for today's DMI. In this zone here, we are aware that the market is holding and would be rotational in this. The expectation would be rotational in this zone, and we would have to be monitoring the neutral areas for possible small opportunities, scalp level opportunities to the bullish side of things. But until we get up above this area here, we don't really have much else to do for the bullish side of things besides wait and see if the rotation comes down and gives us a test of our lower line in the sand. All right, so not exactly the most, how do I put this? Not exactly the best situation for us today with the narrative. It's not the strongest location, but if things do shift, then we get more information that is better. So in other words, if we get that shift to the upside, that is a better trade opportunity for us for today. If we never get that shift, it's kind of sit on your hands and wait for good locations, which are lower for us from the bulls, and that would be where the confluence is in the context. So a little bit more of a difficult DMI today because the read is at a destination. We saw a trade idea complete right here in this move that we were looking at for yesterday as well, and now that trade is played out, right? So recency is an issue for us. We don't want to get too drawn into the same trade idea over and over and over again. All right, so trade well out there, mind your risk, and trade your process, and have a great trading day.